Hey, Mitch.
Oh, hey, who are you supposed to be?
Jack Burton.
Who?
Jack Burton. Me. From Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, you know what? I was just going to watch that because it's its 35th anniversary. Can you believe that?
I know. It's got some cool special effects and it's really exciting. What do you think?
Oh, wait a minute. Talk
Yeah.
about special effects. You'll never guess what I can do. I watched this movie so many times, I've tapped into its energy. You ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
Are you sure you should be doing that?
Yeah, it's good. I'm an expert.
Mitch, are you ready to do the show?
I was born ready.
Hi, this is Ed Dollister.
And this is Mitch Halleck.
And welcome to Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. Thanks for joining us. If it's your first time joining us, welcome. We like to talk about all things pop culture, and we've got a classic cult movie from 1986 today. One of my favorites. Is it Mitch's favorite?
Find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. But if
Mystery.
you do want to find out about our show, there's one thing that you can do. What's that, Mitch?
Ed, it's as easy as driving the Port Shop Express. All you do is hit the little subscribe button on the bottom of your page, and you will be notified next time Ed and I go on an excellent adventure. I'll use the chopstick to point to it.
That's
right. There you go. That's it. And you know what?
Mm-hmm.
If you like what you see, just hit the like button. Just subscribe. It's not going to cost you nothing. It's all free.
That's right.
Makes us feel good.
And
the more people, the more we do this.
That's right. That's right. Don't. That might be an incentive for them to unsubscribe me.
Don't unsubscribe.
No,
I'm sorry. I'll give you some of my Chinese food.
So we're talking about a great movie that is near and dear to my heart, John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China. Did you see this in the movies?
I did see it in the movie theaters. It was only around for like about a week or two, but I saw it opening weekend in 86.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've got to say that there was a show in Australia called Hey, It's Saturday, which was a like a variety show. It was really
popular. On Saturday?
It was Saturday nights with Daryl and Ozzy. Ozzy was a ostrich who I met and got an autograph. They were huge here in Australia.
Wait a minute. Like a real ostrich?
No, a puppet.
Oh, okay. We used to have a guy here who had an emu when I was a kid. It was like a puppet. He was on the Hudson Brothers show.
Okay. I do know the Hudson Brothers, but I'm just going to school you. It's called emu.
What did I say?
Emu.
What did you say?
Emu.
Okay. That's not, didn't I say the same thing?
No, you
EMU,
said,
right?
Yeah, you said emu.
Emu.
Yeah, it's mew.
It's emu.
Correct.
Okay, thanks for watching the show, everybody. All 6 of you. Thank you.
Hey, that's an improvement. So,
hey,
listen. So, Big Trouble in Little China. There was a competition where you could win tickets to see Big Trouble in Little China on Hey, It's Saturday. My friend and I entered, and we both won a double pass. And I remember it was one of those great, like cardboard tickets. You probably know about printing those things. Hey, Mitch.
I do.
I know. And it basically had the wonderful Drew Struzan artwork on it. And we took a day off school and went up to Melbourne to see it at the cinema.
Melbourne?
Melbourne. Here we go again. Is this how to speak Australian? Okay.
Hello. Good day.
That sounds like Ray Winston. Come on. That's Ray Winston. Benny Hill wasn't
It was English.
I know.
Focus.
Thank you.
Focus.
This is supposed to be a short one, Mitch. Come on. So
You're at the show. You took
Yep.
a day off from school.
anyway,
You played
so what
hooky.
happens was we used our double passes for each other. So basically, we saw it twice in one day, and we loved it. It was an amazing film. As a 16-year-old, it was a little bit Indiana Jones. It was a little bit Ghostbusters, bit Kung Fu. It had all these fantastic elements. Sadly, not everyone else was as enamored by it as we were, and it sort of, as you alluded to, disappeared pretty quick and was pretty big box office flop, unfortunately. But look, it came from there was some great talent involved. John Carpenter.
Absolutely.
John Carpenter, who at that stage had just come off again, not a huge hit at all. The Thing, the remake of The Thing, which was an amazing movie. He's well known for he started in Dark Star, he did Halloween, he did The
Halloween,
Fog.
he did Dark Star, he did I can't think. Escape from New York.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was 80. Was that 81? Escape from New York?
That's 81. Escape from New York's 81. The Thing is 82.
Yes.
And then I thought he had something.
Christine.
John.
So
Carpenter.
he was.
The Fog. The Fog.
Yeah. Yes.
Adrienne
that was
Barbeau, his wife.
Yes. So that was, so he was a well-respected director of the genre picks. He had some, not so big hits, but great films, and then he had some which were a little bit more popular. He never rose to the heights of a Spielberg.
No, he's a cult guy. He's more like a Joe Dante,
yes,
a Toby Hooper. They had their like little niche that they were in there. But no, Carpenter was probably the more successful out of those other folks I just mentioned, because Joe Dante had Gremlins and Explorers, and that's about it. But I don't know.
More like Burbs. He did the Burbs as well.
He did the Burbs. I don't know. Carpenter's more like a Sam Raimi, maybe. He does. Well, Raimi had huge hits though. I don't think Carpenter ever really had major box office, did he?
No, but he had a huge cult following, and
he did, yeah.
And there was a film that was had been written by these two screenwriters, and it was essentially a Western, a mystical Western. And when there was some interesting elements to it, but basically it wasn't really it wasn't received as a great screenplay, but there was some good ideas behind it. So the studio brought in W.D. Richter to basically
Buckaroo Banzai's W.D. Richter.
I know Buckaroo Banzai. Invasion.
Oh, he had a huge hit. Brubaker. No, he did Robert Redford's movie Brubaker, which is I think he won an award. That was huge. That one there for him. It was on his resume.
And he was known as a bit of a script doctor, coming in to fix these scripts. So they brought in they brought him in to basically change it. And essentially he went, well, if you set it as a Western, you're automatically cutting off the audience because they're not.
Westerns were dying out right about then.
They were. So he set it in present day, created the character of Jack Burton, and set it in San Francisco in then present day 1986. And the studio was really trying to push a movie, the movie through quickly, because word had it that there was another project that was sort of mystical of around that time, which was the Golden Child.
The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy.
Yes, which I saw at the movies.
I did too.
Many,
my dad.
Probably 2 or 3 times. That was And
my dad didn't like it. No,
really, I didn't mind the Golden Child, but
it was okay. It was okay. It was lighthearted compared to his other 48 Hours and Trading Places. Eddie Murphy was on his in Beverly Hills Cop.
Yes,
he was like the #1 box office star in the world.
Yeah, that was more of a family friendly, I suppose.
Yeah,
more blockbuster. Yeah, that's right. So
a lot of the same elements that are in Golden Child are in Big Trouble in Little China. I mean, a lot of the same story ideas and stuff.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And so basically they reworked it and they tried to push the script through and get it done as quickly as possible to beat to the box office the Golden Child, which they
did it by months.
They did. Yeah, it was like it was released in the 2nd of July in the United States, and I believe the Golden Child
was a Christmas, November. Yeah, right around Thanksgiving. Yep.
So, and ironically, John Carpenter was approached to direct The Golden Child at one point, which he decided against. So, anyway, he chose to do Big Trouble in Little China, and Kurt Russell has worked with John Carpenter before in The Thing, and of course,
Thing and Elvis.
Yeah,
they did
that's
an
correct.
Elvis biopic there, and then they did, of course, Escape from New York.
That's right.
And
So,
this is their fourth movie together. Yeah.
yeah, so they weren't. He wasn't that enamored with the idea. The studio certainly didn't want to have Kurt Russell in it.
No,
they were
didn't.
actually. Can you imagine this? They were after Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
Or Clint Eastwood.
Oh, I've heard other people besides that. But yeah, Kurt Russell was not high on the list. Yeah, because and actually, he's not really the star of the movie. If you want to get technical about it,
No, it's an
Dan,
he's almost the sidekick, isn't he?
No, that's what I'm saying. If you watch the movie, he's more like the sidekick. That's he gets into trouble, he gets out of trouble. The real star of the movie is actor Dennis Dunn. Emu. Yeah, he's really the star of the show. I mean, him and Kim Cattrall.
Yeah,
she's also in the movie, and she's a bigger part and has a lot to do with it. And Kate Burton.
Yes.
Speaking of Burton, that's Richard Burton's daughter.
It is.
Yeah, it is. Beautiful green eyes. I always remember that, which is funny because Green Eyes plays a part of this movie. The character that they're looking for, the woman, has green eyes.
Yes.
And it's Kim Cattrall, who does not have green eyes, actually.
No, she did. No, she had to wear contact lenses.
She had to wear contacts, and she did
which
not
were quite
like
painful. Were quite painful
Yes.
for her. So, so yeah, Kim Cattrall. Once they couldn't get Clint Eastwood or
sure it was Clint Eastwood.
Jack Nicholson, they settled on Jack Burton. They settled on Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
And Kurt Russell was sort of playing as a bit like a clueless John Wayne.
Yeah,
and he's a likable character, but as you said, he's not really. Things go wrong. He gets knocked out for most of an action sequence.
Yeah.
He's a little bit clueless. He's
he's dumb. He's big, dumb, and dumb. Yeah.
But he's likable and he's willing to give it a red hot go, which is quite good. So he's really the sidekick to Dennis's character. And I suppose the thing is, one thing that I did read that they were saying is that the studio wanted an Indiana Jones movie, and they didn't get an Indiana Jones movie. What they really got was like a Short Round movie with Dennis in the character of a grown-up Short Round.
Yeah.
I like even at one point at the opening when you see him and Jack, and he's got the fedora on and everything like that. And you sort of go,
they're playing cards. Yeah,
that's
with the
right.
knife in the bottle.
And you're sort of going, you know what? I think that could work. That could work. And maybe that's what I liked about it. There were sort of elements of that Indiana Jones. Which I feel like they did better than they did with maybe a Romancing the Stone, because I think it wasn't so much of a carbon copy.
They tried to. They were more a Romance of the Stone mold than they were Indiana Jones epic, dark magic type of thing. Though, they do have that whole mystical element to this movie, which is like, oh my God, it's almost reminiscent of The Shadow. There's so many other movies that have these occult and mystical warriors and all that type of thing. I'm thinking of the Mummy. Was it Mummy Part 3 where they have the Emperor's Army or something like that? They had that was another one where they brought people back to life. But now this movie was on its own when it came.
Well, certainly at the time.
Yeah, I mean, this is groundbreaking for that. There's
one thing there was a bit of a backlash even before it came out. They're going, oh well, how can you have it's talking about Chinese mythology. It's set in Chinatown, and you've got Kurt Russell coming in to save the day. That's what they thought at the moment, at that time, even before it came out. And it essentially wasn't that. There was 3 Western actors, apart from 4 if you talk about the additional scene at the very start that was
the beginning, the actor when they're interviewing him.
So which we'll talk about a little bit later. And but essentially it's all Asian actors who are the leads, really.
I never heard there was complaints about this. This is the first time hearing of this.
To start with, and then obviously the film came out and no one really even bothered because it hadn't come along. When they were casting for Kim Cattrall, they were worried because she was really known for Police Academy and Porky's.
Yeah.
and things like that. And they wanted a pop star to play that role, but Kim Cattrall secured the role. And of course, the iconic role of David Lopan, James
Yeah.
Hong, the amazing
James Hong,
actor
yep.
who's still working at
Oh
90,
yeah.
91 or 92, I think he
Oh
is.
no. Yeah, he's a big one on the con circuit. I've seen
Yeah.
him at conventions. I've never had him at my show, but I've
Yeah.
seen him at other local shows around here. Yeah.
And again, like all John Carpenter films, it's got a great score by John Carpenter,
Mhm.
a really fitting score. We actually watched that, Kelly and I watched that last night, and then we watched right after it, They Live. John Carpenter, which
that
I
was
think
good
we
to
should
hear.
probably do a show about They Live, because that's
I've never
funny.
seen that movie.
Really.
No, but I do know Kurt Russell was supposed to be in that, but they got Roddy Piper
Yep.
instead.
And he was
supposed to be in
great.
it.
He was great in it. Actually.
Apparently, I've heard lots of good things. Everybody I know knows that movie. They love that picture. That's just like this movie that's got a cult following. But I know the story, the thing with the
Yes.
glasses and Consume and all that
Yes.
jazz. But life's so, it's only so much time in your life, and I've not had a chance to watch that
Look,
one. But I will for this show. If you want to do a They Live, I will do that.
Yeah, well, it's certainly worth watching.
Yeah.
It's I hadn't seen it maybe since 1990 or something like that, so a long time, and it was really really good, really good.
Yeah.
So that's an aside, and we'll get to that at some point. But Big Trouble in Little China, they had a budget of $25 million for a lot of the sets and costumes. No, it didn't. The visual effects were done by Boss Effects, which were headed by Richard Edlund, who of course you know from Star Wars,
Raiders,
Ghostbusters. The visual effects still, I feel like they still hold up. I was watching in HD, and they still hold up really well. You've got those wonderful animated lightning effects. You've got the eye creature, which is absolutely
that big,
disgusting.
ugly ball thing, Slimer with eyes,
Yeah, a little bit. And the guy who, the visual effects artist who worked on Ghostbusters, who created Slimer, did that.
Yeah.
He basically said that is the most difficult thing he's ever had to make.
Oh, really?
The funny thing is, you think about it, well, it's supposed to be like the size of a, baseball or something like that.
Oh, I thought it was bigger than that.
Oh, well, maybe it was a little bit bigger, but in reality, it was actually, they made a giant one.
Oh, is it huge?
Yeah. It's like in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, where
when they show the close up of the ear,
and that's a giant ear, sort of. It makes sense, but movie magic, I suppose. And then of course you've got Thunder, Lightning, and Rain, who were the inspiration for Raiden in Mortal Kombat, and they've been the inspiration for lots of things.
And then the dude blew up, man. That's all I remember that movie.
Yeah, was pretty amazing. Yes. For most most audiences, or most Western audiences, weren't used to martial arts films like we are today. So to see this sort of stuff in a big Hollywood blockbuster was quite refreshing. It was quite interesting. They did not a lot of wire work, but they did a lot of flips on trampolines and things like that. And if you hadn't watched any Jackie Chan or some of those earlier films which John Carpenter was influenced by, that's why I think it was so refreshing to see. It was refreshing to see that. It was refreshing to see a character who didn't have all the answers, and he was like a little bit like Indiana Jones, making it up as he goes. I thought the humor was spot on. I love that scene, with him and Kim Cattrall kissing, and he's got the lipstick all over him for the start. It's just little things like that. I found Egg Shen, his little nuggets of wisdom. I found it a really entertaining movie, and I absolutely loved it. But as you said, no one else did. They didn't. It tested really well. Everyone thought they had a fantastic movie, but the problem was they didn't know how to market it. And I do remember seeing the posters here. They just they isolated Jack Burton from the Drew Struzan artwork, that iconic poster, and they said basically, who is Jack Burton? That was like sort of the teaser sort of thing and everything like that. But there wasn't a lot of money behind the advertising, and it pretty much sunk. Tom Cruise's Top Gun was still playing. 2 weeks later, 20th Century Fox, the same studio, released Aliens, and that did gangbusters. There were other movies. In fact, it didn't even open in the top 10
It did not.
So
I'm just telling you.
I know. So as a result, it sort of faded very quickly, but it did get another life on VHS. And that's
Yep.
when, the cult status started to come in. There wasn't any real merchandise or anything like that at the time. There was a video game, a home computer
was there?
game for the Commodore 64, which I do remember
Oh.
playing, which I was so excited by, but it was not very good. It was basically a side scroller. You had that's pretty much it. They did release the
That's it.
soundtrack.
It wasn't even a comic book.
Not
It's always
that
a
I'm
comic.
no, like later on, obviously, once a film gains cult status and then people go, we can make money off this nostalgia,
Yeah.
so that's when they brought out the vintage retro style,
I was
action
going to say
figures.
the retro. I've seen the retro action just the other day. I was at the mall and there's FYE and they have a bunch of those in the back and they had a Jack Burton. Big
Yep.
Trouble
So
in
they
Little
brought
China.
out those. There's been some 12.
Did they ever get a Funko Pop?
They have got Funko Pops.
Okay, everybody gets a Funko Pop.
Yes, I have not seen them, but they do have them. There was
Is it recent?
Maybe like in the last 5 years, I think.
Oh wow.
So
I mean, Funko. I mean, if it's popular and it's gone, it's like hundreds of dollars on eBay or something. So I never saw Big Trouble in Little China thing. No.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. They developed a board game recently for it. There was also the 12-inch figure that they brought out of Jack Burton.
Oh, really? They did that, huh? Well,
so
with the mullet and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
With his, I couldn't get the t-shirt, the singlet in time, unfortunately. But
you wanted to get the little muscle shirt.
I did, yeah. Well, first I need some muscles. I think that's probably would help. But and there was. So there obviously is the popularity of the film. They've just released it, I think, a 4K version. It's on Disney Plus over here. I assume it's on Disney.
No, it's
Plus.
not on Disney Plus. Sure.
Oh, it's on Disney Plus in Australia. So through Stars. So we've got a
we don't get a lot. We don't get the PGR stuff on.
Okay, Disney. So it's on there. They did do. I'm sure they did a comic book of it later on, and they also there's been talk of
The Rock wants to do a sequel or an update of it, eh?
Yeah, so there was going to be Dwayne Johnson was involved in it was a sequel. It wasn't a reboot or anything like that, a continuation of it. So it would still continue on with the thing. They were
he was going to be Jack Burton.
I would assume that Kurt Russell would still be Jack Burton.
I would think, yeah.
I mean, he's still a busy, he turns up in the Fast and the Furious, films.
Kurt Russell did?
Yeah, he's been in the last.
Oh, I mean, he's Guardians of the Galaxy, those Santa Claus movies he's done on Netflix.
Yes.
Those Quentin Tarantino movies, The Hateful Eight.
Yes.
No, he's still working, he's a busy guy.
If anything, I think now would be a great time to do a Big Trouble in Little China.
Well, hopefully it's better than Escape from LA.
Yeah, that surfing scene was pretty bad.
That was one of the worst movies I ever saw in my life.
Yeah.
That Escape from LA.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah. But they can't all be winners, can they?
No.
So like us,
I've been very quiet listening to you talk about this. I don't know what to say. I mean, here's the deal.
Listeners, viewers, let's just enjoy this moment. Sorry.
What? Okay, what was that you say?
No.
You want to enjoy the moment? I'm speechless. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I was going to play some. I was just in my mind. I was playing but I just realized I won't be able to put that in because we'll get a content match. But
we can hum it though.
We can. So there was.
I was going to start eating my Chinese food again.
Please do, because they were actually looking at doing a sequel at one point to the film, but with Egg Shen as the only recurring character. So a whole different set of myths and things like that set in Chinatown in San Francisco. I do remember though, I was very excited because when we Kelly and I did our tour of San Francisco a few years ago on the trolley car, and we went past the gate where Egg Shen's bus drives up
Yeah.
into, and I'm going to Kelly, that's from Big Trouble in Little China. She's going, oh, great. So, yeah. But then last night I could go, hey, remember? And she goes, yes, I do. So that was good. So Big Trouble in Little China. That's pretty much it. Do you have anything to add? How's your Chinese, by the way?
Oh, the food's good. The movie's not.
You're not a fan.
I don't like this movie. I don't like this movie.
All right.
Okay. I try.
What? So do you want to just? I don't want to keep this as a long show, but
no.
What?
No,
why? No,
no.
But what don't you like about it?
I want you to help me understand this thing, because listen.
Yeah.
Why little Ed saw it twice that day. Over here in America, Mitchie saw it once, opening weekend. Almost fell asleep during this movie. And I was in the theater with like 3 or 4 people. Nobody was in the theater. I saw it opening day. I saw it like 7 o'clock at night because I, like you, was intrigued because I love the poster. Drew Struzan artwork.
Yeah.
One of the most beautiful posters he's done. And everyone he does is beautiful, but this one was great. That picture with him standing there, he's got the gun and just a big picture of Kurt Russell, and then
Kim Cattrall's lying there,
oh yeah, I mean the colors are great. It's the oranges and yellows and the nice rich blues and purples. There's always that going on, and the logo, the logo kind of looked like a Raiders type of thing, with the arch letters and such. So I go to the movie, have no idea what it's about, thinking it might be like Raiders of the Lost Ark because the imagery on the posters kind of show that. But like you said, the marketing was so poor, you didn't know what you were getting into. So the movie starts up. And you have that little weird intro that they tacked on that I found out years later. Yep. Because I guess they didn't have a real opening for the movie.
Well, it was originally going to open with Kurt Russell just being in the Pork
on the truck
Express, with his wisdom radio that he was. But the studios, basically, one thing, the studios, they looked at the film and they go, cut out all the humor. So they cut out all the humor, and it tested poorly. So they go, put the humor back in. So they re-edited it.
And then they added that weird
and then they're going, well, the hero comes across as not the hero, because
he doesn't. Because honestly, I went in there, I'm watching the movie, and I hear this like John Wayne impression. Yeah. Hey, everybody, this is Jack Burton. No one's ever going to tell me what to do as I'm sitting there eating my Hostess pie. And I'll tell you another thing, all right? And here we go. I'm driving the Pork Chop Express, and I'm coming into San Francisco. Bang, bang, buckaroos. Okay, it's fine. And then he meets the guy. They're doing a little game with the knife, and the bottle hits him, and it's all set up. I'm fine. I'm not
okay. Well, can I just say that?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that so basically the guy he's not seen as a hero, and he never was.
No, he's not.
But so the studio said, let's do this scene to show, that Egg Shen at the start is saying, yes, he is a hero. So that when you go in, you go, oh, okay, he's a hero. That's why they added that.
That's why. Okay. Well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
That scene. So anyway, they go in, the setup's there. They go over to the airport. They go pick up the fiance, the girlfriend, whatever she is. Again, gorgeous Kim Cattrall. I mean, how could you not love Kim Cattrall in 86? Beautiful. The hair. I know she doesn't have green eyes, but it's just added to it. Gorgeous. I'm like, at that point, I was 20 years old because I saw this the week of my birthday because I always go to a movie on my birthday. Like this week, I saw Black Widow and you didn't want to see it. But anyway,
I'd say a happy birthday.
I go to see it. Oh, well, you'll know how I feel about this movie. So I'm watching it and I see this setup and, hey, what are you doing? Where'd you get that? And he pulls out the knife and all that. And I'm going to ask you, because you know this stuff, was the actor that had the sunglasses and the knives and stuff, isn't it the same exact actor from Batman that fights Michael Keaton in the alleyway? Because he does the same with the flips and the knives, and then Michael Keaton just, knocks him out with one punch. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
You might be right, but I do know
he was a stunt guy.
Yeah, I don't know that, but I do know that stunt guy was in multiple scenes. So that's one reason he was wearing glasses to hide his. Yeah, so.
Oh, maybe because I'm just saying it was so years later when I saw Batman, I go, oh, that's the guy from Big Trouble because he almost did the same bit. And then there's another actor who's kind of balding that has a long mustache and longer hair. He looks like one of the Klingons
No,
that I
well,
saw in Star Trek. I think
no,
they
I've
used a lot
I've
of this.
forgotten his name. I'll put it down right
No,
now.
but it's the
But
same guy, isn't it?
He appears in everything. He has been.
I know. And yeah, I mean, this was in the middle of the 80s where they seem to have like a handful of actors for all these movies that we watch. Like you'll see Lethal Weapon, you'll see that's the guy that played Fedora from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He's in that movie, or Tango and Cash. It's the same group. Like I can't think of the casting name, but you'll see it on the name. Shirley something. But anyway, the movie sets up. Here's where I just get disinterested in this movie, and it's actually a slog to watch this thing because I just get so bored with it, but the effects are good. The mix up with the girl, and they take her and they got to get her back and this and stuff. And there's funny moments in there. Kurt Russell's over his head, which is funny to watch. And that whole bit where he rolls back down with the wheelchair and he almost falls into the pit and he has to grab onto the rails.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff's, it's very visual. It's a lot of sight gags going into it. And there's another little tie-in thing that you forgot to mention. That weird Yeti monster.
Oh, yes.
Is the same monster from the movie Creepshow, which had a story that was directed by John Carpenter, which it was called The Crate. And it had Adrian Barbeau in that one. And there was like this monster that's in the crate that comes out and it's got all these nasty teeth.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's a crossover. I think that monster from that movie is the same beast that's running around in this movie. Mm-hmm. It also reminds me of The Secret of the Ooze, which is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because they had another monster that kind of looked like, a lot of makeup. Again, at its time in the 80s, this was top-notch special effects. There was no CGI. This was up there with Ghostbusters, which we could have a Ghostbusters story one day too, because I don't really like that movie either. I don't know why. So I get it. I get the action sequences. I get the fight scenes. I get the whole thing with the swords and the tridents. It's all filmed, choreographed. I get it. But I just never get engaged into the film. I don't know what it is. And I remember that from the 80s. And all I remember is Jack Burton's dialogue. I remember Kim Cattrall's pretty face. And I remember the scene where the guy's head explodes and the big weird mad ball thing with the eyeballs. That's all I remember from this movie. Yeah. So you say, let's do this. Well, let's do Big Trouble. I go and rent it from Amazon Prime the other day for $4, tax write-off. So I watched this thing again. I fell instantly into boredom, just like I did 35 years ago. And I'm like, oh my God, when is this over?
Wow.
I don't understand why it's such a hit. I go to the comic book store. I talk to the kid Kurt behind the counter. I tell him we're doing this. Oh my God, I watch that movie at least once a year, if not twice. I love that movie. My other friend, John Mulligan. Oh my God, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. Everybody loves this movie. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because I'm too used to Indiana Jones, James Bond, Luke Skywalker. There's always this heroic central character.
Yeah.
That he's like a buffoon in this movie, He's like, I'm the guy. I'm ready. Let's go. I could beat you up anytime I want. And you're like, well, this guy's an ass. And I don't know, maybe I was expecting Kurt Russell to be Indiana Jones, and he turns out to be like, I don't know, Dudley.
He's a bit like Marcus in Last Crusade.
He's like Marcus. I was going to say more like there was a Brendan Fraser movie, like a George of the Jungle. It's not Tarzan. Yeah. It's this bumbling idiot, and then the monkey saves the day, and he just, that's smart.
I know what you mean. I mean, I wouldn't say he's bum. Look, I don't think he's incompetent or anything like that.
No,
it's just like you said, he's in over his head. He's just a regular guy who's seen some irregular things, to paraphrase. His character. I quite like that, and I thought maybe that was maybe why people did like it, is because they thought, well,
it's different.
I could be, maybe that's how I would act in that situation. I wouldn't be so. Well, that's good. Again,
I mean, like I said, visually, it's amazing. I mean, the fight sequences, the silhouettes with the color,
the production design is beautiful.
Oh no, it's top notch. Yeah,
but it was not a hit. $11 million didn't even.
It was not a hit, and I think a lot of people had the same effect I did. They didn't know what the hell that movie was. And I remember Jack Burton was all they promoted, all the ads. I'm Jack Burton. That's all you saw in the commercials, like Jack Burton, Big Trouble. Like you're supposed to know, like Jack Burton, that must be Indiana Jones. You know what I mean? It's like there was no recognition
Yes.
of like Mad Max. Oh, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Oh, I know who that is.
Yes.
You don't lead a new series, and maybe there would have been a series of films. Like Buckaroo Banzai kind of has the same problem because the name is so outlandish. You don't know what that is.
Yes.
Is that a cowboy? Is that a samurai movie? It's kind of
Yeah.
a bit of both.
Yeah.
And ironically, they have Richter involved in both those movies, and neither one of them were box office hits, but they do obtain cult status.
Yes.
And I do like Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
Because I think it's more scientific or science fiction and fantasy, and it's got Lithgow and it's got Jeff Goldblum and everybody, Clancy Brown. That one's funny. This is not funny. This movie, I've never laughed out loud. And I'm going to tell you that end song that's sung by John Carpenter himself.
The Coupe de
I want to
Villes.
punch him in the throat. I can't stand his voice. Okay. That it's big trouble in Little China. Big trouble. How much cocaine was this son of a on? That's all I got to say. This is an 80s movie that's cocaine fueled. I'm sorry I swore. We're going to get an explicit rating. It was such a pretentious vanity project. I'm glad it failed at the box office. It took him down because John Carpenter should never have sung. It's like he got together with his buddies and they filmed it and they put it out there. It's kind of like what we're doing right now. We're thinking people are watching. I hate that. When I heard it the other day, I'm like, God, instant flashback. I want to rip my eardrums out. Anyway, that's what I think of Big Trouble in Little China. Glad you liked it.
Well, hope you like it. Please watch it and let us know what you think in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you like it like me, or did you have the same reaction as Mitch did? One last thing, if you want to subscribe, don't forget, what can you do, Mitch?
Well, don't listen to me, because if you don't, no, what you could do is you simply hit the button, and occasionally you can watch Ed and I love, occasionally, most of the time we love movies, but there is that momentary disagreement. Like you just had to watch this. I'm sorry, kids, that mommy and daddy had to fight in front of you, but we did. And that's just to show you that not everything's for everybody, but just hit the subscribe button and you can watch us go to fisticuffs next time over some celluloid masterpiece or disaster, depending on your point of view.
Who knows?
That's all.
Who knows?
That's it.
So signing off on the Pork Chop Express. This is Ed Dollister.
And this is angry moviegoer Mitch Halleck.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.